So how's everyone doing this week?
Really good.
Hey.
How you been, Jen? We haven't seen you in a couple of weeks.
I know, it's nice to see your face. We haven't talked in like, what, 6 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. I got my cover art for my book back.
You have to share it. Do you have it near you so you can share it?
I'm on my phone right now. And it's digital, so I can.
Okay.
I don't know how to.
So cool. No, share it in the group. Post
Yeah.
it in the Facebook group so we can all see it.
No, I'm keeping it like I'm sharing it.
Okay. Message it to Daphne and me because we want to see it. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And I don't even like if I can figure out how to do it, I will. I know how to do it. I'll go into my email. And then
cool. Okay, cool. Hey, Mike's here. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Hi, everyone. How you doing?
Good. Jen's going to show us the cover for her book. Is it published? Is it ready to be published other than the cover art?
So my artist is now working on internal illustrations, and we had a really successful Kickstarter campaign. So it's not ready. It should be ready by the end of July is what we're hoping. But she's a really amazing artist and very she spent 4 weeks on it for sure. Like doing stuff. So
that's so cool.
I'll turn my camera around. How do I turn it? Oh, there we go. So this is my.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So this here is like the front cover. And then this is the back cover.
Oh, cool.
So it wraps around, and then I'm going to add the text and title and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really, really excited. You can see the cat in the window, and then the kids are all like Narnia, Hobbit houses and stuff like that. The cat's a major character. She's an angel investing business mogul that decides to take 4 kids on a business adventure.
That's awesome. So Jen, we've had the privilege of speaking with you and getting to know you a little bit and your business. Maybe take this time in the networking Zoom to tell everybody sort of the idea with your book and like the concept and sort of where you are with those stages, because it's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So we my husband and I went full-time with our portrait studio in September of 2020, and we did a lot of like entrepreneurship. Like we really kind of built that a little bit, but we realized there's a lot of stuff. Like we want entrepreneurship for our kids. We want our kids to be able to take over our business. We want to like that family entrepreneurship. And if you think about kids, like every kid I know wants a lemonade stand, like wants to make money. They have no problem asking for money. They have no problem asking for what they want. And like something in those teenage years, like breaks us. And like we have to relearn a lot of things that kids know, but kids are also not necessarily like they need a lot of guidance, because if you just let them try to run businesses, you get $50 pot holders and it's not going to work. And so what we realized is a lot of business and entrepreneurship concepts are extremely simple, but it's a matter of just doing them. And so what we wanted to do is, since we're big sci-fi fans, we're fantasy fans, we wanted to create a book series that was like really beautiful storytelling, but all weaves in entrepreneurship lessons and makes entrepreneurship cool. And so the basic gist of it is there's this family of cats that contracts with a family of people, because the cats can't count money and they can't talk. And so they're just partners, and the cat took out the grandfather when he was 15 on this like trade route, and then like taught him how to do business. And then he opened up his store. Then the same cat takes out the dad when he was like 15, 16, takes him out on like this 3-year tour. And then the dad opens up his own store. And the book starts when their oldest child is turning 15. And so it's time for the cat to take the son out on this tour. Well, as things never go quite like planned, the cat heard the adults talking, and the mom was like, I just don't think he's ready to be by himself. I don't think this is good. I can't see him out there alone and all this. And the cat's like, okay. So instead of taking just the 15-year-old, she takes the 15, 14, 12, and 8-year-old on this journey. And so she's very like she doesn't talk, but she's very smart, and she leads the kids to do stuff. And she basically just makes sure they don't starve and that nothing catastrophic happens. So she keeps them generally on plan, but if they decide they're not gonna, if they fail and just don't make enough money, she's going to go into the woods and she's going to catch a rabbit for them so they don't like starve and stuff like that. So we wanted to teach, we have 4 different characters. They're very real life, like very flawed characters, and they have strengths, they have weaknesses. And we wanted to make it that when they made bad choices, bad consequences happened, instead of this weird, like, hey, I broke all the rules and I'm the hero because
Yes.
that you see a lot in like modern literature. It's like, oh no, when I do this is what happens. Because we figure the best way to learn is to identify with a character and maybe even cheer for them as they're making the mistake, and then go, oh, that's what happens here. So that you can learn vicariously through someone else's mistake, but also see that mistakes aren't like the end of the world. So yeah, we're in the process. I just finished like the first pass of going over the editor's notes, and I've got some things I want to tweak, but yeah, we got the cover art. We're getting internal illustrations done because I want them to be really beautiful. And then we should be, I'm doing a big like launch promotion, a book giveaway. I'm networking with other authors, and then should launch at the end of July. So, and this is one of mine. That's Noah. So.
Hi, Noah.
Yeah. Can you say hi? Oh yeah. 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 That's all boy Noah. Okay, cool. Say bye-bye. Hi. Go bye. Okay, go play trucks. You do trucks or blocks? Trucks. Okay, go play trucks. So yeah, that's life.
Yep. I remember those days.
That happens to me all the time.
And I think that's really good that that's becoming a lot more normal and like accepted of like, no, people are, they have kids at home. And I mean, it's one of the things that I feel like the last 2 years has made it like a lot more like that's not necessarily unprofessional anymore. It's just like, oh, you're like a real person. So
okay.
Yeah.
Well,
You'll
so
see my dog walking by, and Daphne's kids will sometimes come in and out, and that's just the way it is.
And make faces in the camera at Maggie. Yeah. Oh, so what are your, I guess, what's your strategy for the launch? Is it going to be like social media, or do you have this whole other thing?
So what I've done, I went to a lot of fantasy authors that go to like the clean fiction market. So Christian authors that are like wanting to keep there's a whole like realm of like clean Christian beautiful stories. So I've networked with a lot of them, and then I have a group of homeschoolers that's like 11,000, and oddly enough they haven't like jumped onto my homeschool like my book, but they still like reading. So what I did is I started a summer reading challenge. So like every single week where, having people track how many books they read, kind of like a weird book it thing. And then we're announcing the winners. And so next week I'm having a virtual book fair in my group. So like highlighting all these other authors and their stories and stuff like that. And we're doing a big book giveaway. So I asked all the authors to mail me a signed copy of their book. And so I'm organizing all of that. You have to have an email address to sign up for the giveaway. So all of the authors are promoting the big book giveaway on their social. I'm promoting it in the groups. And then I also reached out to some like pretty big name, like even traditionally published ones. And I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Do you want to send me a free book? And actually most of them did. It was amazing. So it's really funny. Somebody told me once, no one who's ever done what you're trying to do will criticize you because they remember how hard it was. It's the people you get criticism from is the people that have never tried it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so they're like, just take that with a grain of salt. Nobody who's actually done what you've done is going to criticize you because they know what the journey is like. And so, yeah, I just reached out to like some like the Tuttle twins guy. And he's like, yeah, I'll send you like his team. They sent me a whole set of things. So that way we can tag them, even if they're not like, yeah, we're going to promote this thing. Like, yeah, just linking into other audiences that are,
yeah.
So that's kind of where we're going. And obviously it all filters through. I get everybody's email addresses and then I've got that for the launch.
No, that's very smart. It's very smart. So that's a good way to do it. And that's a good way to tap into markets that you're not necessarily, associated with, right? So it helps you grow, like you said, your list, everything like that, so that you're not, trying to grow it from scratch. Like you're going to this group and you're a nobody and you're just like, hey, I have this thing that me and my husband did. And people are like, oh, who cares? But when you sort of like approach it the way that you've done and you partnered with a bunch of other, like-minded authors and books and stuff like that to promote them and run a thing, run a challenge, right? A reading challenge and have these, sort of rewards. Everybody loves that. And then you have the potential to reach tens of thousands of people that you never would have, been able to reach before. And then, like you said, because you have your emails, their email addresses, you're able to sort of target them now. Right? Hey, remember me?
Like,
I have a book.
A Facebook, custom Facebook audience.
Yeah.
Like I don't even in their email box. I can have
ads and stuff. Yeah. No, that's smart.
Like here, I'll just even turn this into a lookalike audience. Like there's a lot of power with that. And then I am thinking once I do have the book finished and launched and stuff like that, doing like a traditional ClickFunnels thing with, the upsell and the membership and that type stuff with ads running from like YouTube ads running from specific YouTube channels, because you get somebody's YouTube content and say, oh, they align with our values. Their subscribers are going to align with that. And then literally you can target them via YouTube ads.
Yeah. No, what you've done is super, super smart. And it's actually like not that common to find somebody that is just like a go-getter and is motivated like that. That's just like, oh, I've researched all these things. So that's really, really cool because you don't find that very much. And a lot of the information that you've sort of implemented is not sort of out just laying around out there. So you've done your homework. So we applaud you for that. That's super, super cool. We're excited for you.
Yeah, I'm totally impressed.
17.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm totally impressed with you, Jen. All of that, I know what labor that is in writing my one and only book. And I got lost in all that and I didn't actually promote it or launch it like you're doing. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jen,
Anybody else have any news for their business and what they're doing and sort of how things are going, right now? Because, everybody's in a different stage and stuff. So this Zoom is about you guys.
I had a question for Jen. Is your book faith-based?
So we're Christians. It affects our worldview. It affects everything. The
Okay.
subject is entrepreneurship.
Okay.
It's also a little bit weird because it's based on a different planet. And so it gets a little bit funky when you're like, okay, obviously God is omnipresent everywhere, but there was no Jesus in historical history on this planet. So, and that's not what the book's about either. So we're going to have like light references, like at the beginning of the morning meeting, it'll
Right.
reference saying that Dad started the meeting with prayer and then,
Right.
but it's not about the gospel. It's not about that type of stuff. It's about entrepreneurship and families and good families and all of that. So I don't think that we would do anything that like maybe your standard Latter-day Saints person would be offended at or anything
Correct.
like that. It's
Nice.
All right.
Her mobile is like cutting in and out, sort of thing.
Well,
But
it's anointed by God. So whether it's about God or not, the one who wrote it.
no, and that's what makes Maggie and I super excited about this
Yeah.
particular group that's sort of coming together, because everybody is a believer. That wasn't necessarily intentional. It's just sort of like you attract who you are, right? And the other thing too is like realizing that our businesses are our ministries, right? So we don't need to be, a preacher or a worship leader or a teacher, right? In those respects, in order to have a ministry and be able to affect people's lives. Like Jen's going to be able to potentially reach thousands of kids with like good, like biblically based principles, right? Like if for business, without like shoving, something down people's throat. And that's the same way we all do our business. Like in your business, like she said, it's like you're Christians, it's reflective in your whole worldview and the way that you approach everything, right? In business. Maggie and I are the same way. Like we have to be ethical. We're like very honest, and we gain people's trust pretty easily because of the way that we conduct ourselves, and just different things like that. And you guys are kind of the same way in your business, where what you do is reflecting, who you are, right?
Well, my question for Jen was based off of, because coming from a school background, we're always looking for literature. We're always looking for, believe it or not, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe is still a book that's read, every year by our students. And I work with 6th and 7th graders. So knowing like that there's something good to read. My kids are readers. I have 2 junior hires and a 5th grader coming up. So my kids are always looking for a book that will take them somewhere and that it's good. And they're able to like pick out the savior. And even if it's like Star Wars or something, they're always, it's the good versus evil. And my kids will turn it into something spiritual. That's just the way they are, but that's why even coming from the schools, I hear students looking for a book that'll just take them somewhere. And that's why I was asking, is it, that faith-based in that sense? And the kids don't know that some things are faith-based, but they can see that good versus evil all the time. And then of course the good conquering. So that was my question for Jen, but definitely it's always good to know that literature like this is being produced, because sometimes I feel like people are like running out of ideas, and I hear my kids saying, oh, this book is boring, or I didn't go anywhere with this book. And so I'm actually excited, and congratulations for pursuing this, because this is great. I can't wait to read it either. So
thank you.
My kids.
Thank you so much. My phone battery died. So I ran up to the Zoom on the upstairs, but yeah, it's very cool. I really there. Let me, I'll send you a chat text thing.
Nice.
Very cool.
And for those of you who haven't met Jill is our She's our administrative assistant right now. Actually, she's our personal assistant. She's assisting us with a whole lot of things. And Jill's background is she's a school teacher. So she's been teaching for many years, and they've got one son that's homeschooling, and she's hoping to transition into maybe homeschooling the other children. And her husband and her are budding up entrepreneurs. I say budding because they have a vision, right, for the future, but they're still in their day jobs right now. And so Jill's come on to help us with a lot of our administrative tasks that we have, and also to keep track of us, right? Because we're sort of all over or I am. Maggie's very organized. And also Jill's one of my best friends, and she is she's a worship leader. She's been a worship leader for many years. So that's her ministry. She's amazing, guys. So that's her introduction. I'm just introducing Jill because this is her first time on the Zoom. And so she'll be in these from now on, pretty much like a fly on the wall, and, you know, kind of asking some questions. So because she's trying to get a feel of what this group is about, what we're doing, you know, and all that kind of stuff. So Jill's new. And previous to this, she was teaching a lot of children. All right. Anybody else got some things going on with their business?
I would like to share something. So I already shared with you part of my business last time, but another part, because there's lots of parts, being that my business is ministry, is something called the spa. And the spa represents spiritually prepared to advance. And so what it is it's an extravagant ministry to the one. So people will come in, and I have multiple teams that will minister to them and pour into them, and they just get super spoiled. So they have the prophetic team and prophetic art done over them. They walk in and they don't say a word. They're not allowed to speak because we want it to be clean, totally clean the whole time. And then they go into the prayer room, and then there's inner healing in this. Anyways, it's just a beautiful thing. And then during those times, the team is looking for, okay, where's their next step to advance them? And so we have a list of many, many different kinds of ministries, from everything from deliverance and healing to just anything, just all kinds of things that people do, even some like massage type therapies, things like, you know, whatever it is, they need peace or whatever. So we have a huge list, and then we direct them to those next steps. So I sent out my email. I've been growing a list with the mailer light. And I sent out my email yesterday, just inviting people to the spa. It's a free service. And I get this call from a guy, and he's on the beach. I love this kind of stuff. It happens all the time. But he's on the beach crying out to God. He tells me, I'm on the beach. I'm crying out to God. I just want to connect to him. And my phone goes off, and I look, and you emailed me, and I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do or what the spa is, but I'm supposed to come. And I just thought that was so cool. So I just wanted to share that.
Wow. That is amazing.
He's so good.
So
Yeah.
tell me how the spa works. Like, how would that process? How are you reaching people with that message, right? Number one. And two, like, what is their process through this? Because I'm interested. I want to know.
How does it work? Well, it goes by word of mouth. Well, actually, it started off as a healing rooms. And when I had it at another location, and it got really, really big and difficult. I was always trying to figure out the system, and we had about 50 people ministering. It was huge, and it was crazy, and it was hard. And in that season, I don't know, I don't even think I'm answering your question, but the Lord asked me to give it all up. And so I did. And so he's resurrected it now. And now it's like simple, you know, and rebirth. And I really believe that's the season we're in, is things, God wants our lives to be simpler. And so things to be different. it doesn't have to be all bad. You know what I'm saying? So now what it looks like is they come in, they meet Jen, who's just ministering to them before they even get to our rooms. They come into a room, they're washed over with words of life and love from the prophetic team. There's about 5 people in there, at least 5, and like popcorn just going off with what the Lord is saying for that person. But what's really beautiful is then they come in the prayer room who hasn't heard from the other, and it all gets confirmed. And so in that room, they they spend 5 minutes with me. I do the inner healing. I know it seems very short, but God can do a lot in 5 minutes. If they need more, I'll have them do a session with me. And that's the spiritual renewal, which is what I do in ministry for a living. But I do what I would call in a spa, the scrub. So I get rid of the lies. I get rid of the unforgiveness, the doubt, anything blocking them from receiving healing. So I scrub up real quick. That's part of that spa. And then the next, the prayer team comes in and they just minister to them. Then they finish up with the blessing prayer, which is a gal who's sitting there just discerning and listening. And we have this beautiful book. It's called Healing Your Spirit. Of course, our spirits don't need to be healed. They already are, but forget the title. It's a great book of scriptures. And so she'll grab the topic, and then she'll just release a blessing into them. And it's just beautiful.
Oh, wow.
That's what that is.
That's so cool. It makes me want to fly out there and go do that.
Yeah.
And then
Let me
know.
She had asked if I could come, and I just like totally lost track of the day. So I don't even know if you have time left on
I have
Saturday.
one left. I have one spot left.
Can I have it?
I have one spot right here.
Okay.
It's yours.
Doesn't matter what time it is. I'll be there.
9:15.
That's fine.
That's awesome. See how he set that up?
Yeah, he did.
That's wonderful. That's so awesome. That sounds so cool, Candy. So what is your goal with having the spa, right? And so obviously you run a business and everything like that, and you're doing this particular part of the ministry for no cost, right? Is that what I understand? Right. And then you do sessions, you can do healing sessions or like personal, like type counseling type of thing. And then I'm assuming that has a cost. So is that how you're sort of getting people in like funneling them in, I guess, to some of those deeper things? Or
yeah, but because I struggle with the whole, well, like, okay, I have a scholarship fund that people sow into generously. So a lot of the people don't even have to pay, which is awesome. I think my struggle is because it's ministry. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't view it like funneling them in through the spa.
Yeah.
But like, I just want to see people whole. So whatever they need, whether it be me or somebody else, excuse me, that's where they get sent. Charisse does art for healing with these powerful inner healing sessions to the arts. You would love that. It's a beautiful ministry too. Just a bunch of, it's a place called Testimony Life, and they have a bunch of very unique, gifted people that do unique, gifted ministries. And so, yeah. So, but I guess in answer, since it's a business class, to your question, yes, sometimes they'll come through that because there's a need, and now they've found out, oh, there's a place to get inner healing.
Right. And and I think, in fact, me and Jill had a conversation about a different ministry yesterday that we were talking about, but we don't really believe in like, pay me money and I'm going to pray for you or anything like that. I stay away from that stuff. But as far as like your business turn, like the counseling part, right? Because so that takes time and energy and something. So I think, conceptually you could sort of maybe shift the way you think about that part. Because to you, it's all ministry, right?
Right.
And so you're just like, I want to see you healed and whole. But if you think about like your time with the counseling thing or some sessions or something like that, then Yeah, for sure. You know,
And that's been really hard. I tell you, this is funny. I'll tell you girls this, guys, sorry, this guy's there. I just finally raised my prices because I realized I was working for like pennies. I'm like, okay. So I just finally raised my prices and I got slammed with appointments. And I just thought, okay, that was interesting.
well, because people take you seriously. It's weird.
Yeah.
But when you're charging almost nothing, they're like, well, you must not be that good. There's this perception, right? And so, well, when you charge like, oh, my rates are XYZ, right? They're just like, oh, now like their radar goes up and they're like, oh, and they want, I don't understand it either, but it's true. It's true. Because it's perceived value is what it is, you know? So, Jill, you said you had something.
So my question is for Candy. I think the idea that we get with ministry is we say and then it's like, and we see that a lot, especially with missionaries, and they itinerate and they go around. And my other question to you is, besides like the spa services, do you have a boutique, kind of like where, for me, being in worship, one of the things I look for is ambient music, if that makes sense. Music with no words, music that just I can get into just in my prayer time. I don't want nobody talking to me. I don't want to hear nobody sing. I'm going to start singing with you and then I'll take over. So we're not going to do that. So if I can just have like instrumental worship going on, and, but I look for those things, believe it or not. If I can find a CD and I'll have it in my car. Yes, I still believe in CDs, even if you can get on your phone. But I'm just saying, when it comes to like a spa, even having a boutique of selling the oils or the scrubs or the soaps, or just little booklets of hope and God's promises. I know a lot of us, because it's one thing to be in there, because then you never want to leave. Mm-hmm. But it's another thing to leave out of there and still know how to survive without having to. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Okay. So is there something extra that you are doing or looking into right now?
You're so funny. Are you prophetic? Okay, so I actually I design an anointing oil that I sell. It's called Just Him. I have that. And then I have I think I have 12 CDs of, I'm a writer, so I wrote soaking music.
There you go.
So yes, I do. Exactly that. And I've thought about other things that I might offer. You said the word hope, I think, and that strikes something in me. I'm going to pray about that. Some tools. I also wrote a book that I also have there on the spiritual gifts. Yeah. So,
one of the things that I have found in being in ministry is I'm glad when people come to church and worship with us, but do it in your car. In other words, worship has to be the same, even if Sister Jill is not leading worship in the car with you. Like it's you, Jesus, and you guys. And so that's why I say, if you write a book of hope where there's scriptures, or I feel this way, but the Word of God says this about that. And sometimes a lot of people don't put those things together, and a lot of people will not read the Word. But if they have a book that it's almost like a glossary and it's like scriptures on hope, they will go to that portion of that book and they will like study them and get that embedded. And so even if it's a quick minute to where, but it's something solid because it's the Word of God and it's living and active. And so it's them fighting against whatever they're trying to come against. So things like I said, I could be in your spa all day long. Me and Jesus love it all. Okay. But I can't. So if I can get a quick, minute with him or time alone and even keep going on the outside of not being in your spa, that would also be very encouraging. So just some ideas.
Love it. Thank you.
Jill's got ideas, guys.
Good.
I told you she was a budding entrepreneur. That's super cool. What else? What else is going on? This is cool today. We have a lot of people on here that have a lot of different business ideas and stuff and things going on with their businesses.
I'd like to just know what the other people do, because I've only really met Maggie. And
that's true, Jennifer. You haven't really gotten to know this. So we've been sort of meeting over the last 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And then I think we had met with you but once before that, right? So it's sort of
It was like the three of us.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, let's go around. Dina, you can go first. I guess, because you're in my little circle.
Okay.
Go first.
Well, I'm just sitting here just loving and just enjoying every bit of this. I've been blessed by everyone that's spoken already. And just, you feel God in this. I'm an artist and I've been doing art since I was 5 and I'm quite a bit older now. But I've really been working at, I can keep busy pretty much month to month, but I don't have residual income coming in. And I have ideas galore too. It's just getting them implemented. But the Lord has nudged me to go ahead and get more public with it and get a website. All I've had is like Facebook and Instagram, and I've not been working it like I need to. I paint acrylics, watercolors, canvas on all kinds of products and things. I've done murals for years. I've done a lot of church murals, but I'm not necessarily wanting to do those anymore. It's kind of hard on the feet and back. And anyways, I'm learning digital art too, but my whole purpose is to create, most people come to me for gift items that are unique, that are endearing and have some kind of meaning behind them for their loved ones or their coworkers or friends. And they'll come with an idea and say, hey, can you create something for me? And I get so much joy from that. And my motto has been creating gifts for that bring joy to both the giver and the receiver. Because once I design something and they're like, oh my gosh, I love this, they're gonna love this. So there's that excitement they have. And then a lot of times they will share with me a picture or a call and say, hey, they loved it. And it's just, I love using my talent, to bless like that. And so I guess I've been training and getting some teaching that if, what the client needs, what do people want? What's their problem? What's the solution you can give them? So people who are looking for something unique, you can go and to like Hobby Lobby and get something for 50% off. And I can't compete with that, but I can give them something unique that's their own scripture or a painting of a silhouette of his wife, and he's just written a poem for their 50th anniversary. And I do it in calligraphy, and she's all drawn in watercolor or pencil. And that brings me joy. Then I go and I usually meet up because I work from home. I don't have a store. So my target is to go ahead and get online. So I've been working on my design. And I'm looking I posted a few things the other night, and I've already got people wanting prints. So I've been doing some really hard searching on what all's out there for me as far as resources for that. And I think I found some places. So that's what I do. And, I just want it to be a blessing to people. And I love the prophetic art. That's something I'm going to research and study out some more. I think that's amazing. And I have heard before of stories where people have received gifts and the anointings on it so strong that they've been healed. And I'm like, God, if that was what you want, then yes, Lord, please, use me for that. And Daphne's holding up something I did for her.
Yeah. She did this for me. I don't know if you can see it really well.
Aww.
After a hard time that I was going through, and Dina helped me through that. Dina does counseling stuff too. Don't let her fool you. She does it more as a ministry. That's not her business, but this is what she does. There it goes. And she drew a picture of me and my family. So and she did that in watercolor.
Yeah, from her Christmas postcard she gave me, which is on my refrigerator. And I'm like, this is so beautiful. And so I thought, I'm going to try my hand at that. The faceless people, things like that are huge. You either love it or you hate it. But
I loved it. And everybody that's seen it, like in my house, has loved it. So I just texted my son. I'm like, bring me my picture.
So that's what I do. I'm an artist just trying to be obedient and take baby steps. That's where I am.
And then Candy, you talked about your business. Who's next? We've got Audie, Michael, and Amberly on here.
I missed the question. What was the question?
Oh, so tell us about your business. Tell us what like what you do, who you are, that kind of thing. 'Cause
Okay,
Jennifer's
sure.
new to the group and she doesn't know
All right.
a lot of it.
Well, I'm in the same boat as you, Jennifer. I'm brand new to the group, and I missed a lot of the meetings. I'm aspiring to be a brand consultant, and Maggie's kind of seen my journey. I'll try to be super brief, but it's just been a God journey. My background is over 30 something years doing graphic design, art direction, illustration, creative direction, and just never not feeling, I guess, being best used by the gifts that the Lord's blessed me with. And it's kind of like just very recently, probably about the time you came in, Maggie, but to the orange space, discovered this whole thing about brand consulting, and just seeing that is where my heart is at, and feeling I can best serve clients in that way. And I had a short paying client, my first client ever, and the big buildup there was with my past businesses. I'd always be, not always, but there are often times where you get to a certain point where you're talking about money and it gets all funny. And then I'm like gearing up because I'm pricing this brand consulting. I'm brand spanking new, totally green, and pricing it way above anything I've ever even did first time with design, and had my proposal, or actually haven't even given my proposal, or maybe I had just shortly given it to him. Anyways, I'm gearing up, we're on the phone, and I'm waiting for him to like bring up all these objections about, well, you know, what about the cost for this? What about the cost? And it's kind of a gift from the Lord. The guy I already felt like I resonated with the guy. And his biggest question was, so Audie, before we get started, tell me what's the best way to pay you? And I was just like floored. I was like, oh my gosh, wow, is it that, Lord, is it that simple to do something like this? Now, and not all of us would love to have ideal clients like that. And he was an ideal client. And, you know, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. Everything worked out great. We actually did a partial brand discovery session, and it was wonderful. But he had other plans and directions with his business and family, which I totally understand. And we're still connected, but that kind of gave me a taste of what that would be like. And but since then, it's been a financial challenge for me and my family. I lost some big clients just prior to the lockdown, and so Lord's got me in a different direction. I am now a substitute teacher and applied for a full-time teaching position with an ROP group here in Southern California, in the area that I'm in, and I'm super excited about it. And I think it's kind of flipping things. In the past, when I used to be fully employed doing design work and all of those sort of things, my freelance work was on the side, and that's kind of what I'm doing now. So teaching is where it's at right now, unless the Lord opens up doors in areas, you know, in applications or whatever for remote work. But in the meantime, I'm excited about that. And then I'm still going to pursue the brand consulting. And so that's kind of neat to see Maggie and Daphne doing this thing and connecting with all of you folk, and even extra delightful to know a lot of you are believers. But as far as the brand consulting, what I shared with you about having this person as my ideal client, that's kind of my selling point for what I offer. My biggest, I guess, superpower is helping clients to find their ideal clients or customers. And so I had to really resist, because Candy, when you were sharing about how to grow your biz, man, the brain cells were like moving left and right. And at some point I'll share with you what went through my mind, but yeah, I'm super excited about it, and just kind of biding my time at where I'm at, and hoping, learning how to fish in a bigger pond. I think the biggest thing for me is I've worked with a lot of nonprofits, especially ministry ones, and my heart is still there, but I know for where feel like I'm being directed, I'm shooting for companies that have budgets 5 figures and up, starting on a lot of this stuff. And so I'm not familiar with all of that. That's honestly, it's kind of, I feel like a kid again, like when I first started designing, going, what is all of this? I don't know. And I do, I feel called to want to work with C-suite type executives. And I've already had a taste of working a lot with founders of large non-Christian and mission nonprofit companies. And so I kind of have a feel for that comfort. But honestly, it's learning to walk again. So anyway, I'm excited to be part of this group and would love to continue and share my journey. And if along the way I could be of help to anyone here, it would be my extreme pleasure, and nothing would give me more satisfaction. So love small businesses, love medium businesses, and I think they're just the backbone of of what we do in our country, at least. And it's just tragic what's going on right now, but we won't even go there. So anyways, I'll stop. Sorry about that.
Well,
but thank you for letting me share.
No, of course, and I'm so tickled that you came on, because I mean, Audie and I met like what, a year and a half ago, maybe?
Oh gosh, it's weird. It seems like years, but it's very recent. So
it is. It's pretty recent, and I used to see him almost every day. And the orange space remains one of my most favorite places, because the people there are just so creative, diverse, driven. There's so much growth that happens in that little space.
Yes.
And it really was a huge blessing to me. A huge blessing. And Audie's underselling himself. He's a graphic design genius. Like he just, and one of Audie's greatest, and I'm just going to brag on you, but one of Audie's greatest talents, like one of his greatest gifts, is the ability to connect. When you meet him, he just draws you right in. He feels like an old friend, and so he's able to connect with people, which I think is going to really push your branding stuff, to a whole different level for you, because you have this innate ability to reach out and grab somebody with this just big warm hug, and you're intuitive. And so I am really excited. I'm really excited to see how God uses you here.
Thanks, Maggie.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate
Huge
that.
Blessing.
Yeah.
And it's funny, like that you help other people identify, right, their ideal market. And then when it comes to yourself, right, you're like, oh, feel paralyzed to a certain degree, right? Like, how do I say what I need to say to the people I want to attract, right? And it is, it's like, it is. And that's why we sort of put this group together, because I think everybody's good at what they do. And then it comes to a business aspect of it. And you feel, you feel that, you feel paralyzed, you feel overwhelmed or anxious about it, or some people get really frustrated, like I've done this, I've done. So that's why we put the group together, and it's, you know, exciting to see everybody sort of come in for those reasons, for different stages of their business. You know,
Sure.
even me and Maggie, we're at
Yeah.
a completely different stage in our business. We had a pivot and a mindset shift this week,
Yes.
and we were like excited about it. But for, you know, for months we've been doing the wrong thing.
Years, 4 years. We
I
have
told I told
my
my friend that marketing your own business is like cutting your own hair.
Yeah.
It's just really hard, and the results just like, it doesn't even matter if your main source of income is marketing
Yeah.
your own stuff. You overthink,
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
like
Yes.
freak out, and like you just
Yeah.
can't. It's really hard. So
Yeah.
that's very common. Sometimes my friend is a copywriter. I have written the copy for her website. and like we've done some swaps, because I'm like, I can't even do my thing, and I can see everything for your business because it's crystal clear, but me,
I think that's so common, you know, I
Yeah.
really do. And
It is.
in fact, you know, Mike, who's on here today, hey Mike, he's really been instrumental the past week and a half or two in helping Daphne and I create that message, you know, and figure out our own marketing, because for some reason it's been really a hurdle for us, and we're too close to it. I think that's what it is, right, Jen?
Right.
Like, you're too close to your own business. You can't see how other people view you. You can't even see your own strengths sometimes. And you get in your own way. And I feel like we have gotten unintentionally kind of in our own way here. And we also realized that we had some, you know, some issues with feeling like we were providing a certain value, and that became a stumbling block too. And thankfully God's kind of taken some of that away, but it's so true. It's very difficult because you're so hyper focused on what you're really good at when it comes to trying to market that to people who don't know you. Yeah, I don't know why. It's like, it's a struggle.
Well, and then the struggle for Maggie and I both has been because we're both nerds and we enjoy, it's a compliment, she knows that it is. We both enjoy the work. We enjoy the actual behind the screen work, that stepping out of that, because we've done that for years. Both her and I have done that for years. We've built websites, we've designed things, we've, you know, done SEO for companies and, you know, clients and all this stuff, to where we've done that for years, to where stepping out in front of things and saying, you know, like now, like we want to help the small business owner learn some of those things, and being able to speak the same language, right? And say, and they were like, I don't want to do what you do. That's too much trouble, right? But we're like, no. If you could understand some things very simply, step by step, then you could implement this in your own business and stuff like that. So that's where me and Maggie are. And it's not even the process, right? So the process hasn't even changed. Our course hasn't changed. What we're teaching hasn't changed, but like what we're saying, right? Like the mindset around what we're saying has changed, right? And so, yeah, Mike's been very instrumental in helping us figure that out. He just asks the right questions, and then we're like, oh yeah. So it's really cool. I love that this is coming together. So Mike, you've got the floor, because now everybody wants to know what you do.
Yeah. Well, I'm an advertising and marketing copywriter by trade. And I didn't start in the ad agency world. I came in through the side door, where I started with working in advertising for corporations. And I started with large corporations in their advertising departments. And so ad agencies would have us as a client. And since that time, I worked for corporate corporations in advertising, banking. I did freelance And I've worked for agencies, marketing agencies, direct marketing agencies primarily, and I've freelanced with a lot of regular agencies. So I'm across the board, and I've been self-employed for a long time. So I know really kind of like the challenges that pretty much, people who have jobs face, people who are independents face, agencies face. Kind of, I've seen it all, been a part of it all. And still freelancing now, but as Maggie knows, over the past 5 or 6 years, what I really wanted to do, because what I started to do was I got to know people. I'm really kind of people oriented. And whenever people needed help with the resume or help kind of thinking things through, I would offer up, because that's kind of what I was driven to do. It really is, in all honesty, it is the thing that probably God has blessed me with more than anything else, is to help people and help people kind of like look at themselves. I kind of feel like I want to help people raise their self-esteem, raise how they see themselves. I was having a conversation with Maggie and Daphne about something that I learned from a consultant that says, start with why. Ask, why do you do what you do? Not what do you do, not how do you do it, but why do you do it? And if you know why you do it, and could even kind of start from there, that will give you kind of an idea of what drives you. And I know why I like helping people. I really don't like seeing people sell themselves short. I don't. It is, I don't think God likes ourselves selling us short. I mean, he's gifted us. We should be able to tell the world what we do, and feel good about it, and say, gee, thank you, Lord. And that's kind of where it comes from. When you do a good job, you should feel good. In fact, I saw this famous pastor the other day, and he was saying, he goes, like after, the 6th day, the Lord stepped back and say, hey, that's pretty good. And so it's like, yeah, we should be able to say, wow, that I did a really nice job on that. Thank you for that gift, or thank you for that opportunity. So that's kind of where I want to start heading into this very, very, very late in my career. But it's exciting to me. It's kind of what it kind of makes my day. I have been working with Maggie and Daphne. Boy, I'm having a blast doing it, because it's what it's what I enjoy doing the most. And so I just come up with all these ideas. Have you thought about this? And have you thought about that? I have to do that when I write. I have to think about this and that and that, and then it kind of like it all comes together. And so, my goal as far as this group is to, how do I put together a business, a coaching business? I don't necessarily want to just do one-on-one all the time. I'd like to see if I can expand it. So I'm kind of, now Maggie and I were going to work on a website. My copy is all written. It's all done. Everything's done. And I did a seminar at the beginning of the year, a free seminar that my church sponsored, quote, and didn't have a big turnout, but those who came really enjoyed it, and I loved it. And so I wasn't disappointed in the fact that a lot of people didn't attend. The people that came felt like they all got something out of it. I mean, truly got something.
They asked a lot of questions too. People asked a lot of really interesting questions.
Yeah. So, that's kind of where, where I want to go. Yeah. As you folks were talking, there's something that just dawned on me not that long ago. When you work for a corporation, and I work for a lot of corporations, a lot of clients, I cannot tell you how many times people would try to, they would sometimes say it directly, but even just kind of hint at it and let you know that they just don't kind of value your ideas. They don't value your ideas. They don't value you. They don't value your input. That's corporations. For whatever reason, everyone's so protective, so tutorial. You get out of that arena, God bless, Maggie and Daphne. It's like they think my ideas are helpful and worthwhile. You go to a corporation, try and say, hey, look, I have something I want to share with you. They don't want to hear it.
Huh.
It's such and it's a negative environment. And that's kind of what I grew up in and, made it through. But, you pay a price for, when you begin to realize, boy, there are so many people who want to tell you, what you don't know. And that's really unfortunate. So all the more reason when I'm career coaching people that it's like, look, no one out there is going to tell you what a great job you do. You have to tell yourself. So that's where I come from. That's where I come from, still writing. I'm, making my living as a writer still. And, have an idea to write a book and then get a website going. And, with the help of what I'm learning from Maggie and Daphne and all of you, that's kind of why I'm here.
So cool.
Why I'm here.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Super cool. So we have Amberly left. Is she able to talk? Or do you?
I don't know. I know she's got her kiddos with her. I can kind of do a pre-introduction. Amberly and I actually met through a women's group. And it was probably, I could be misquoting this, but I think it's about 3 years we've known each other. We've never actually met. It's like Daphne and myself. Daphne and I met 5 years ago through a mutual friend. And we had all these ideas, and we grew this before we even met each other. We hadn't met each other until March of this year. Like we already had all of this going. It was 5 years really before we actually were sitting together in the same room. Thank you, Zoom. Like you really helped us. But and so Amberly and I have kind of watched each other's businesses go in different directions. And I know I've had some setbacks and she's had some successes, and we've just kind of like shared things. She introduced me to a software a few years ago that's really helped my business that I have now. She's great. We've worked on some client stuff together. So she understands, and she runs a business with her husband. And so she understands the small business model. But she is a stay-at-home mom. She's got 3 young children. And so she juggles her, the business side of things as well as the mom, entrepreneur side of things. But I'm sure she'll want to jump on here maybe when she's not got little kiddos around and introduce herself. But yeah, really amazing person.
Cool. So does she build sites or?
She does. Yeah, she
Okay.
built websites. Yeah, and so we've partnered on a few projects. She actually did some work for Birdie SEO when I was building a lot of these small sites in 2020. I think it was 2020. Yeah. So yeah, she's really good at that.
Awesome. Well,
Can
this
I
is
ask Michael what the topic of your book is going to be?
Well, I'd like it to be kind of career coaching related, and I have kind of so many, really like way too many ideas on what to cover. I had this humorous headline one time. It's like, lend me an ear and you'll come out ahead. But it's a joke. But really kind of like to make it humorous.
I like it.
I know.
I actually threw out that idea one time in a corporate meeting at a bank, and I love that. That was a great idea. But it would really just, be on really kind of that topic of not selling yourself short, of the importance of putting your best foot forward, and kind of like the right to put your best foot forward. So, I have so many kind of ideas on the topic, but it would be that. Now, my wife wants me to, and she's been, encouraging me to write a book forever and ever. Maggie knows her well. And she just wants me to write a humorous book of some kind, and probably, based on kind of all my experience working in corporations and all the kind of crazy things that have happened and that I've learned. But it probably will be a kind of like a career focused type book. If I'm going to be promoting myself as a career coach, it really should be on that topic.
Yeah.
And rather than kind of be something that, is unique to me, a unique idea to me. So, but, it would be humorous, and it would be engaging. It would be something that people will just walk away feeling encouraged about. It really might, it really shouldn't be burdened. one time I went to a career seminar, free one, a handful of years ago at Saddleback Church. They have a free career ministry. And there was a panel there, and there were 4 people on the panel, all kind of career coach type people. And they all started with negatives. You're doing the wrong thing. You're doing this. You need to do this. You need to do that. And I thought, this isn't what these people need. They don't need the negative. They need encouraging. You know, they need someone to come alongside them and say, you know, you can do it. Or, you know, I have so many ideas. I like to think that everyone has a success story in them.
Yes.
They already do. You just don't know it.
Yes.
You just
I'll
don't
buy
know
it. I'll buy it when it's out.
it. And
amazing.
so, well, thank you for that. Yeah. And, you know, there's, I actually think the first book, and I kind of did an outline, is going to be kind of like the A to Z of kind of job searching, but it's not going to be your typical A to Z. You know, A is going to be, you know, Z is going to be zombies, and A is going to be, you know, I don't know, some other word. And it's just going to be humorous. And there'll be a real A and there'll be a real, you know, a real B in letters, but it's going to be funny.
A should be aliens.
There you go. That's exactly right. And how you can really feel like an alien when you work in a corporation. So thank you. You just took care of A for me.
All right, my 2 cents.
But I think, Mike, you hit the nail on the head there with that, you know, that's the panel analogy. I feel like as small business owners, we are our worst enemy already. We don't need to be reminded of what we're doing wrong, because we acutely feel that anyways, whether it's true or not. And whether it's something we've kind of taken on ourselves, or we've had negative influence from the outside. But I feel like all of us here are small business owners or entrepreneurs, or we have visions for what we want to grow. We need the encouragement. We need somebody to come alongside us and you know, arm in arm, be like, okay, well, let's figure this out. Like, let's walk through this. Let's make a plan. Let's get you started. Let me help you with some tools. Or just let me listen to you. Mm-hmm. Tell me, like, we'll just listen, talk to us and tell us where you are, and or talk to each other and tell everyone else in this group where you are, and give people a chance to come in and lift you up, and kind of give you that gentle nudge to keep going, because some days are harder than others, you know?
It's true. It's true. And, you know, and the Bible talks about that, like that, you know, if 2 walk together and a 3-cord strand, and, you know, 10,000, right? It's like, if you have 2, then they can take on 10. So like, there is a power. It's a biblical like law in numbers, right? And it's not even like large amount. You don't need 10,000 people on your side. You don't need 100 people on your side. A lot of times it's another person, right? Or a small group of a handful of people, right? Like Gideon, like he had 300 and went and did all this thing. So there's so many instances of like that in the Bible. I know this isn't a Bible study lesson, but we're all believers, and we're talking about like how, you know, there's biblical principles in business, and this group is helping to facilitate that for small business owners, and not just like us, but we want to continue to grow this to where a lot of small business owners are coming along and finding that, oh, I can walk in agreement with this, right? Because it's really hard. And I think, Jen, when we first talked to you, you said it's really hard to find Christians that are homeschoolers that are in business, right? You're like, that's like, you're eliminating like a lot of people, because you've got a lot of Christians that are not in business, or they feel like business is not, it's separate from, you know, their Christianity or something, right? And then you've got a lot of homeschoolers that are very like frugal. I'm not going to be mean, but frugal, right? So then they're not talking about business. That's like not in their mind. And then you've got business owners that are neither of those things. So like, you know, and I'm not saying that, you know, this is what this group's about, but what we are saying is that it is harder to find your, for the lack of a better term, like tribe, right? That of people that are, you can walk in agreement with. and that we can, hold your hand and sort of walk you through a process. So Maggie and I, we're good at what we do, and that's our job. But this particular meeting every week is so everybody can come on and not just talk about the good and the bad about their business, but also like be able to like sort of celebrate their own businesses. And a lot of groups don't give you that opportunity just because it would turn into a big spam thing, and I understand that. But this is why we've done this way, so that people, you're not getting like a picture with a link and buy here sort of thing on our group page, that you're having the opportunity to come in and talk about your business, talk about your passion. Why do you love doing what you do? Right. And then we sort of gather in that with you, and we're like, I want to buy that. I want to buy your book. I want to buy Candy's music. Right. And I want to talk to Mike about this business, so that's why we're doing this. And so this is what this group is about. And this makes me and Maggie really happy and excited, because we've dreamed about
it.
Really
Does. Like, yeah, you spend a lot of years learning, right? Like, I know we have all spent years investing in whatever tools or skills that we have that we then bring to the table. But something that innately I think a lot of us miss is that fellowship, that networking, that working together, that, like Daphne said, your tribe, like your people who you can turn to and say, okay, you may not know anything about marketing, but this is what I'm struggling with. And then that person can come around and say, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, but I know what God's speaking to me about for you. Or, oh, I see the parallel in something I was struggling with. And it just opens doors and breaks down these sort of barriers that we put around ourselves, because the world has convinced us we need to be this perfect package to market ourselves. And none of us are. None of us are perfect. And we're never gonna, we're not going to attract everybody. Not everybody's going to like this group. It's a very special group, because we've come around, we've learned from things that we want ourselves, that there's a hole here that we need to try to now take and help fill.
So this has just kind of been on my heart for the past about 20 minutes, but and so I hope I'm not like speaking out of turn or anything, but I'm wondering if there's anybody that feels like they have something they should say to somebody else that they've seen, like in just interacting, like, I see this for your business, or I see like somebody needs to hear something. So I don't even know. It just broke my heart for like the last 20 minutes. I'm like, okay, let's just see what happens. And
we want to facilitate that atmosphere, right? So this is what we do. We usually will speak into each other's business, or, we have like Candy and, Dina have a lot in common. So they sort of, connect sometimes and stuff like that. But yes, definitely, if anybody has anything to say.
Something right quick. Listening to all this, I've had like Audie said, this world and things that's going on. And I had a friend this week and calling and just struggling so bad. And the Lord has keep bringing up to me that it may be fact what you're going through. You may really literally be going through a struggle and hardship, but it's not the truth. God is the truth. He is the way. His word is the truth. He is our help. And I've had to share that with, I don't know, countless people. That may be fact, but the truth is this is what the God says about this. This is what God says about you. This is what God says about your business. This is where you're going to go. Kind of like Mike is saying, I love that, because it's about speaking into people. And so as I'm listening to all this, it's like, Tuesday, after I got off and shared what I did, I felt like such a whiner. And I thought, oh my word. But that was where I was at, that was at the moment how I felt. But the truth of it is I'm already victorious. I'm going to learn this. I'm going to get through this. And it's going to be kingdom work and a blessing for the Lord. So as I was sitting here, I'm like, this is just more of fact and truth to me and for all of us. And I was almost in tears when Mike was talking, because I just feel his love and his power so strong right now. This is really a special anointed group. And I'm excited to see what God is going to do in each and every one of us. I really believe God's hand. I know it's on this. So I just want to thank y'all for being obedient and letting us be a part of this. But remember, facts and truth, what does God say about it? I don't care how you feel, you're going to get through it.
Yeah, super awesome. Thank you, Dina. And also, you're never a whiner to I never walk away from a conversation thinking she whined. I never think that at all.
I don't think either of us has felt that way at all. Like that's what this is for. You have to have a safe place to go and just be honest with people. And sometimes it's raw.
Right. So I've been writing notes as everybody's been talking since I'm new to the group. So Jen, you asked, so here it is. So everybody get ready. Jen, as you were talking about your book and you were saying what you were saying, possibility for you in the future, getting connected with Christian private schools to purchase your book and for it to be a literature piece within their learning program. And again, coming from a school background, you will see, teachers will take a book and it'll become a 6-week lesson and having to do with just dissecting English and so again, possibility of looking even at Cornerstone, which is a church here in San Antonio where I'm from, and they can buy your book every year and they make it a literature piece that's a staple in their education system. And it doesn't have to be just Cornerstone, but as you expand this portion of your business, to think outside the box. And so that's what I felt could be a possibility. Even where you're from, you can also get that book into teachers' hands, give them a sample, and they can take this sample and run with it and say, you know what, the school that I teach at, my kids have to buy their books and it's a summer reading book and they have to read and write on that book. And then teachers can teach lessons off of it. So big possibility there. And then for Audie, I don't know if you've ever done this, but have you ever been a social media director at a church? You're on mute. I'm sorry. You're on mute, Audie. Yeah.
I said, no, I don't want to be a social media director. My church is really good on social media and it's like they'd run circles around me. My viewpoint is I want to be in the 30,000 foot level. So this is my thinking is I want to be talking to my pastors and saying, hey, let's talk about how you're branding the church.
There you go.
Where are you guys with that? But again, it's just kind of starting. And I already saw like one of my pastors he already has a group that's doing that. Something, maybe I need to connect with him.
Yeah.
And just kind of see where he's going and just kind of see, well, maybe that's someone whom I might be able to partner with or work together with. But I appreciate that. That's a great.
I asked that because so being part of that, you can connect with the social media director for Elevation Worship. You can connect with the social media director for Michael Todd's church, which these are churches that are coming out. But being able to take that off of somebody and then train them on how to do it, and kind of like how we're doing this marketing business, but yours would be the branding and consulting portion of it for these churches. That way they have the tools that you already know, and then they run with that.
Right. So, no, I appreciate that. Yeah. I was resonating. Sorry, I'm kind of rabbit trailing on your suggestion, Jillian. When Michael was sharing about learning your why, that is a big part of the brand consulting that I'm working with. And really, so I totally resonate with him sharing that. And so anyways, sorry, Jillian, I'll let you finish your
You're totally right. You're totally, because I was writing everything down. And then Michael, I know you said book, but I'm thinking motivational speaker. I guess do the books. I know a lot of motivational speakers do have books, but if you could be a motivational speaker, that would, I already felt motivated just by writing all my notes from what you were saying. And I don't even have a business yet. But so that's what I can see. And even like creating a business for yourself where people would book you. Even churches are looking for motivational speakers and ministers like yourself, even you, Audie, same thing, for the background knowledge and know-how of what you have to just share that. And it's not a bad thing. Sometimes I think when we think ministry and booking, it sounds kind of what my kids say, cringy. I don't know. It's the terminology now. It does. It might not sit well, but the thing of it is, I texted it to Daphne, and scripture says, because you have been faithful in the little, he will put you over much. And what I see here is God has given everybody in this room the potential, the knowledge, and the know-how. And I think this is why Maggie and Daphne are at where they're at, because they took the little that God gave them and they've expanded it. If my mind can think like theirs, wow, like I feel like I'm just a fraction of that. But at the same time, what God has given everybody in this room with the talent, the knowledge, and the know-how, because you've been faithful in that little, the Lord is saying, get ready for much more, because you believe in it. So again, Michael, potential of motivational.
No, that's not out of the realm. And don't think that I've dreamt of some guy on stage talking to people, although he looked a lot more handsome than me. In my dream, that was the only problem. Like, who is that guy?
That's all I have.
Yeah.
Throwing it out there.
I think
you opened a door, Jennifer, and Jillian walked through it. Praise the Lord. Wow, we've gone over today, and we know that you guys have so much other stuff to do, right? Going into your business, but we loved this. Thank you guys for joining us again on this Thursday for the networking Zoom. This is every Thursday. We're here. And if you know people that are in business that would appreciate a group like this, or the opportunity to share, or just be a fly on the wall and sort of listen and sort of take in what other businesses are going through or struggling with, or maybe even networking, right? Like some radar might go off that hey, I actually need a copywriter or an artist or whatever, like these connections, So this is why we're doing this. So we love this. This is our favorite part of the week.
It really is
when we jump on our Zooms.
It really is. Yeah. Can't wait for Thursdays.
We brush our hair and everything.
Well, okay. I washed my hair just that.
So thank you guys for being here today. We love you. We hope you have an amazing week, rest of the week. Tomorrow's Friday. Woohoo! Hey. And then we'll continue doing this. So again, come again next week and bring a friend.